Hi, everybody. I'm Roy Firestone, and it was my great pleasure over the years to interview more than 5,000 people in and out of sports, not just athletes, but presidents, celebrities of all kinds. But still, my biggest thrill to this day is to get to interview my first and only hero, Brooks Robinson.
Thank
Brooks,
you.
good to see you.
Nice to
Always
see you, Roy.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Look forward to it.
We go back since I'm 15 years old as a bat boy for the Orioles in spring training. Tell everybody, first of all, what kind of bat boy I really was. Tell the truth, too.
Well, as Ralph Salvon, our trainer, said, you're the worst bat boy we've ever had. He said, but I think you might make it in television.
Which is a true story, too.
That's it, yeah.
But this is your life. This is your whole life in mementos and memorabilia and jerseys and gloves and trophies. And people are wondering why. Why should you give it all away? Or, you know, and it's all going to charity, too.
We've established the Constance and Brooks Robinson Charitable Foundation. All the proceeds from this auction will go to that foundation. And there's a lot of organizations out there that we can help, and that's what we want to do.
And I think really souvenirs or mementos or memorabilia, the best ones are still in the heart, right?
That's exactly right, and I had a lot of them.
Yeah. Let's discuss, first of all, the whole logistical part of it.
Well, Heritage has been great. They have. I mean, they've got really professional people and did a wonderful job, and I'm so happy that they're doing this. But we looked through a lot of boxes, believe me, down in my basement and study, and some of them I didn't identify right away, and they helped me put the date on it. So over 23 years, you collect a lot of things.
Yeah. 23 seasons, never exceeded, I should say, by anybody. The most for one team, 23 seasons, all as an Oriole. When you think of the fans, some are professional collectors and just people who like Brooks Robinson. What do you say when you know they're going to acquire some of these things? Take good care of my babies, so to speak?
I'll probably know some of the collectors that will bid on some of the gloves or whatever I have here.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just thrilled that it's going to happen, and I'll be following right along with it.
What is your fondest recollection? I would imagine 66, but it could have been 70, the World Series championships.
And you're right, 1966. I think as a youngster growing up in Little Rock, I remember saying, you know, sign a professional contract, play in the minor leagues, get to the major leagues, win the pennant, get in the World Series, and win the World Series. I said, if I would ever do that, I was being pretty presumptuous right then. If I'd do that, that would be the best. You know, I don't care if we ever won again.
For a lot of baseball fans, for collectors, for people who love the Orioles, for people who love Brooks Robinson, a World Series ring is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, well, it is a beautiful ring, and I've enjoyed that. I wear that more than I wear the Hall of Fame ring here. This Hall of Fame ring is staying with me.
Wow.
But the 66 ring is something very special, only because that was my first World Series, and I've reached the top. And so that's why it's so special for me.
Let's talk a little bit about the 77 Orioles road uniform first, because this was the last of the road. This was your final year in Baltimore. Is it sentimental to say that was my last time I wore this uniform on the road?
Yeah, it was. You know, that I knew that was my last year.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the cap from the 50s. This is one of the earliest known caps you ever wore as an Oriole.
Yeah.
But these early 50s caps are extremely rare. Let's talk about that for a few moments.
Yeah, well, I love the bird on the hat, the real bird, you know.
Was the hat heavy? Did it feel like, was it a heavy, from the 50s, I mean, did it feel hotter?
Everything was, uniforms, hats, you know, they're all a little heavier, yeah.
And the heat during the summer, you know. Did you say that you used to have to put material in the hat, right?
Well, we had cabbage leaves sometime. We'd come off the field, you know, and I'd put a cabbage leaf in there and put my hat back on.
Are you serious?
But, yeah. Ralph Salvon, our trainer, he'd have a big ice bucket with cabbage leaves down in it, you know, and put them in. You know what? But when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, you don't care how hot it is. It's the love for the game, Roy, and that I never wanted to do anything in my whole life but play baseball.
I want to talk about the 1964 season. You won the MVP. That was your greatest season offensively.
Yeah. Well, that was my greatest season, as you said. I mean, I don't mean greatest, but it was my best season. And you know, A little background, in 1960, we gave the Yankees a real run for their money. And I finished third behind Maris and Mantle in the MVP voting. And in 64, I just got it all together.
Everybody thinks of Brooks as first and foremost the glove man. 16 gold gloves, which is astonishing when you think about it. There are people who are baseball fans and people who know these are very, very special items.
Well, they sure are. And you know, Roy, it might never have happened, but thank God for Paul Richards. You know, I played 4 years of American Legion ball as a second baseman. I signed as a second baseman with the Orioles, played 50 games at York, Pennsylvania, my first 50 games professionally. And George Stoller, my manager, and Paul got together and they said, hey, we think that Brooks would be better at third in the long run. I didn't cover that much ground. And I've always had the great reflexes, and third base is really a reflex position. I mean, 3 or 4 steps, bang, you know, you either do or you don't. So I moved to third my last 50 games.
But you're ambidextrous anyway. You do a lot of things with your left hand, too.
I do everything left-handed. Eat, write, ping pong, tennis, shoot, but I threw right-handed and hit right-handed.
Wow.
So that helped.
And people always ask you this, you know, how much money would Brooks Robinson be worth these days? You know, the MVP and the 16 gold gloves. And you don't look at that and say, boy, I mean, you said something a few moments ago, I'm glad I played when I played, but you don't look at it and say, man, I should have made this kind of money.
No.
That's not in your makeup, is it?
No, not at all. I wouldn't have had it any other way. I think that I played at the best time with the best players, had the most fun, Roy.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge anyone who's making the money they are today. The owners, the players, everyone's making more money than they ever made, so I'm happy for them. Yeah.
Is there anything that wish you could roll back the clock on, though, that you wish the game had gone back to the way it used to be in any area?
No, everything changes. Every part of our society is a little different. Sports are the same way. They've got new innovations every year, and so I just kind of roll with the punches, and I love it the way it is.
All the years I watched you, I never saw you turn down an autograph, not even one. I mean, there's a lot of ball players say, I'll get you later, kids, you know, get out of my way, you know.
I told you a few times. I'm not signing. Go ahead, Roy. It's great for the game, and it's great for the kids. And, I had a great relationship with the writers, and I had a great relationship with the fans, and has come back to me twofold, Roy.
I love the quote from Gordon Beard, right, Baltimore Sun, I believe, who said, other players have candy bars named after them.
Yeah.
Brooks Robinson has children named after them.
It makes me feel wonderful.